The morning my marriage cracked open didn't begin with shouting, slammed doors, or even suspicion. It began with a breakfast bowl. A simple white bowl I reached for every morning, perched on the second shelf of our cabinet. But today, when I grabbed it, something slipped behind it, a small folded note, tucked so carefully that it was meant to be found, but only when the sender wanted it discovered. I unfolded it, expecting a grocery reminder or one of those inspirational sticky notes Mark used to leave me years ago, back when time still had softness. Instead, I found a single printed sentence, typed with emotionless precision. He wasn't at the office last night. There was no signature. No explanation. No threat. Just the truth delivered like a scalpel. A cold ripple ran through my spine. Mark kissed me goodnight at 10 p.m. and said he had late paperwork. I didn't question it. I never had a reason to. Or maybe I never allowed myself to see the reasons. I read the sentence again. He wasn't at the office. Then where the hell was he? Before the realization could fully settle, my phone buzzed. Another anonymous message, this time accompanied by a blurry photo of a woman's hand wearing a red bracelet I didn't recognize, gripping the passenger seat of what looked exactly like my husband's car. A shaking began low in my stomach. Not fear. Not yet. Something older. Something ancient. The instinct every woman feels when a predator enters her territory. I tapped the screen with steady fingers, though inside me something was beginning to fracture. Who is this? I typed. 3 dots appeared. Then disappeared. Then appeared again. You'll know soon. Look under his side of the bed. My breath caught. I glanced down the hallway toward our bedroom, feeling the air shift, heavy and tense like the house itself recognized the lie sitting inside its walls. I walked slowly, each step measured, the kind of gait you have when you're approaching something that will change you forever. I knelt beside Mark's nightstand and lifted the mattress. Dust, a sock, a pen, and then a nearly invisible zipper in the bed base. A hidden compartment. My heartbeat stuttered. I opened it. Inside was a velvet pouch. Small. Luxury grade. Expensive. I emptied it onto the bed. A necklace fell out first. A delicate gold chain holding a charm shaped like a tiny pair of baby feet. Beside it, a positive pregnancy test wrapped in tissue. My chest tightened as though someone pressed a brick into it. Another slip of paper. Printed. Clean. She didn't want you to find out yet. The world under me didn't collapse. It shifted. Tilted. Like it was waiting to see whether I would fall or adapt. Mark wasn't home. My daughter was still asleep. The sun outside looked wrong, too gentle for the violence happening inside my chest. I stared at the items, my vision sharpening to a knife's edge. A pregnancy. A secret. A necklace meant for a mother. But not for me. My phone buzzed again. He's been planning to leave you. You deserve to know everything before he does. Heat rose inside me, not the heat of panic, but the heat of awakening. The version of me built from boardrooms, negotiations, deadlines, survival, she emerged fast, scanning, calculating, dissecting. Someone wants me to see this. Someone wants me armed. Someone wants me ready. I texted back. Who are you? No reply. But I didn't wait. I took photos of everything, timestamped, detailed, documented. Evidence. Proof. Power. Then I heard a car door outside. Mark was home early. Too early. And I was ready. The sound of Mark's car door shutting hit me like a starting gun. My pulse didn't spike, I didn't allow it. Instead, I gathered the items on the bed with precise, mechanical movements and placed them back into the hidden compartment exactly as they were. Even the dust. Even the angle of the pouch. I positioned it all so perfectly that he would never know I had been there. Not yet. Not until I chose the moment that would break him. He walked into the bedroom with that artificial casualness men have when they think they're managing a double life. He smelled faintly of cologne, not the one he usually wore. Something sweeter. Cheaper. And that alone pulled a thin smile onto my lips, invisible to him. "Morning," he said, voice light. "Morning," I replied, matching his tone so smoothly it almost felt like a performance we had rehearsed. He loosened his tie. "You're up early." I shrugged, sipping my coffee. "Busy day ahead." He smiled but didn't come closer. He avoided my eyes, a microscopic tell but a tell nonetheless. I watched him move around the room, checking his emails, adjusting his cufflinks, pretending everything was ordinary while his lies leaked from his body like smoke. "I might be late tonight," he said. "Don't wait up." There it was. The line. The sentence every cheating husband learns to use like a password that opens the door to their second life. I nodded slowly. "Sure. Important project?" "Yeah," he said too quickly. "A lot going on." I tilted my head, studying him the way a surgeon studies a tumor before slicing it out. "You look tired." He paused. "Yeah. Didn't sleep much." I knew why. He had been with her. With the red bracelet woman in the blurry photo. With the woman carrying the baby charm necklace he hid under our bed. But I didn't say any of that. Not yet. I simply placed my coffee mug down, stepped beside him, and straightened his tie, watching his throat jump with a swallow. "Try to get some rest," I whispered. He exhaled shakily, caught off guard by the kindness he no longer deserved. Then he left. And the second the front door closed, the mask on my face evaporated. There was no confusion. No pleading. No imagining mistakes that weren't mine. There was only clarity. I opened my phone and scrolled through the anonymous messages again, replaying the sequence like evidence in a courtroom. Someone was feeding me information with purpose. Someone was exposing him strategically. Someone who wanted me to find every piece of the truth before Mark had a chance to twist it. And I wanted to know why. I typed, "What do you want from me?" This time the response came instantly, as if the sender had been waiting behind the message field. "Justice." My lips parted. Another message arrived before I could reply. He lied to her too. Her. The other woman. The pregnant woman. A chill slid down my spine, slow, creeping. So this wasn't just an affair. This wasn't just betrayal. This was a triangle of lies, each side sharper than the last. My mind sharpened, gears clicking into place. If he lied to her, then the pregnancy might not be what it appeared. Maybe she wasn't some innocent, stolen lover. Maybe she believed something he told her. Maybe she was part of a bigger, darker truth. And the anonymous sender? They weren't warning me out of kindness. They were preparing me. Positioning me. Arming me. For something bigger. My daughter padded into the kitchen, still half asleep, hair messy and warm from her bed. "Mama, can we have pancakes today?" Her little voice cracked the ice around my chest. I knelt, brushing her hair back gently. "Of course, sweetheart." As she sat at the table, kicking her legs back and forth, I flipped pancakes with one hand while holding my phone with the other. My life was splitting into two layers, the soft one for her, the hard one for everything else. When I dropped her off at school, I didn't go home. I didn't go to work. I drove straight to the address the anonymous sender had included in the first photo's metadata, a detail I hadn't missed. A small townhouse. Quiet street. Neutral blinds. A red bracelet hanging on the front doorknob. My breath settled low in my chest as I stepped out of the car. This was her place. The woman who supposedly carried my husband's baby. The woman he spent nights with. The woman who wore that red bracelet while sitting in his car. I approached the door. Knocked once. The door cracked open. A woman stood there, slender, exhausted, pale. Her eyes widened when she saw me, recognition flickering across her face even though we had never met. "You're her," she whispered. "You're his wife." My jaw locked. "And you're his." She didn't speak. She just stepped aside, allowing me into a living room filled with folded baby clothes, prenatal vitamins, and an ultrasound photo framed on the mantel. But something felt off. The room smelled like lavender and lemon cleaner, but underneath it, something sour. Something metallic. She sat on the couch, hands shaking. "You should know," she said softly, "he lied to both of us." My heart thudded once. Hard. This wasn't going to be a simple affair. This was going to be a war. And I was done losing battles I didn't start. The woman, Elena, as I would soon learn, sat curled on the edge of the couch like someone bracing for an impact she already knew was coming. Her living room was filled with the subtle chaos of someone preparing for motherhood, pastel blankets draped over chairs, bottles of prenatal vitamins on the coffee table, half-assembled baby furniture by the wall. But the room didn't feel joyful. It felt haunted. Like every object was placed there because someone told her she should have it, not because she believed she would ever need it. She looked at me with hollow eyes, eyes that carried sleepless nights and truths she was terrified to say out loud. "You don't need to sit," she said. "This won't take long." I didn't move. I didn't blink. "Start talking." She exhaled like she'd been underwater for too long. "I met Mark 9 months ago," she began. "At a conference in Dallas. He told me he was separated. Said he was trying to finalize paperwork. Said you were cold, distant, controlling." Her eyes flicked up to mine as if searching for confirmation of the story she had been fed. "He lied," I said simply. "I know," she whispered. The admission hung between us, sharp and heavy. She twisted the bracelet on her wrist, the same red bracelet from the photo. I could see tiny imprints on her skin where she had been pulling at it repeatedly. A nervous habit brought on by months of manipulation. "He said he wasn't in love with you anymore," she continued. "He said he didn't want to hurt you. That he just wanted a clean exit." Her voice shook. And I believed him. God help me. I believed him. I tilted my head slightly. "Is the baby his?" Silence. A silence that clawed at the air. Then, she began crying, not softly, not dramatically, just quiet tears slipping down her cheeks like confessions escaping her control. "I thought it was," she said. "I truly did. But she wrapped her arms around herself, as if trying to hold her own body together. "He begged me to keep the pregnancy secret until he handled things with you. I trusted him. I trusted every word he said." Anger rose in me, not the erratic kind, but the cold, focused kind that sharpens into purpose. "And now?" I pressed. She took a deep breath. "I'm not pregnant anymore." The word struck me like a collapsing ceiling. Not because I mourned for her, no, I didn't know her. But the weight of them, the tragedy, the manipulation he played, the grief she was holding inside her small, trembling body, those things carved themselves into me. "I miscarried 2 weeks ago," she said, voice breaking. I told him. He didn't care. He only cared about making sure I wouldn't tell you. He said it would complicate things. That losing the baby meant we needed to slow down. That maybe we didn't have a future after all. And suddenly, everything crystallized. The necklace he hid under the bed. The fake illusions of a secret family. The multiplied lies. The empty sonogram someone mailed me, probably not from her at all. Mark wasn't just cheating. Mark was orchestrating an exit plan built on manipulation, pregnancy, emotional leverage, and fear. He wanted to leave clean. Leave powerful. Leave with a narrative that made him a victim, not a villain. "You said he lied to both of us," I said. She nodded. "He told me you were a monster," she whispered. "That you were emotionally abusive. That you hit him once. That you threatened to take his daughter away. He said he was trapped with you." I wanted to help him. My jaw tightened. He told me you were unstable. Another silence. Then her whisper, maybe I was. But not anymore. I stared at her, noticing now the faint tremor in her hand, the tension in her jaw. She was someone who had lived too long in someone else's version of reality. Who sent me the messages? I asked. Her eyes flicked upward, quick, defensive. She shook her head fast. Not me. I couldn't. I didn't know how. I didn't even have your number. Then who? I pushed. She swallowed. Someone else he lied to. The room chilled. There's another woman? I asked. She shook her head more violently. Not a woman. Someone else. Someone he hurt. Someone who wants him exposed. Her breath was jagged. They said they'd contact you when the time was right. A third party. Unknown. Strategic. Watching. And suddenly I felt the ground beneath me shift again, not crumbling, but revealing deeper layers. Layers of betrayal stacked so high, the top hadn't been visible until now. I sat across from her, leaning forward. Why did you let me in today? Because I'm done being silent, she said. And because I wish someone had warned me before I fell for him. For a moment, neither of us spoke. Two women, both wronged by the same man, both realizing just how carefully he had orchestrated their suffering. What now? I asked quietly. She rubbed her eyes. Now? Now you leave him. You take whatever you need and go. He doesn't deserve you. And he won't stop lying. He'll drag you into the same hell he dragged me into. I stood slowly. I don't leave, I said. Not yet. Confusion flickered across her face. I build, I continued. I gather. I prepare. And when I'm ready, I won't leave quietly. I'll leave with everything he tried to take from me. Her eyes widened with something like awe and fear. Be careful, she whispered. A cold, confident calm settled into my bones. I'm always careful. I walked toward the door, feeling the weight of her pain lingering in the room behind me like smoke. But I didn't let it choke me. I let it fuel me. Before I stepped outside, I turned back and said one last thing. When he falls, he won't fall alone. Her breath hitched, half terror, half satisfaction. And as I walked back to my car, the sky felt different. Sharper. More dangerous. Like it knew I had shifted into someone Mark never expected me to become. Not a wife begging for truth. But a woman preparing for war. Because he had made one fatal mistake. He underestimated the intelligence of the woman who built his life alongside him. And now? I would dismantle every lie, every secret, every hidden betrayal. Peace. Bye. Peace. I drove home from Elena's townhouse with a silence inside me so deep, it felt like the air had thickened. My hands were steady on the wheel, but every bone in my body buzzed with something far stronger than anger. It was purpose. Purpose with edges. Purpose with teeth. Purpose that could slice through every lie Mark Ellison ever tried to bury under our marriage. When I pulled into the driveway, Denise, the neighborhood's unofficial surveillance system, was already peering through her blinds. Normally I would have rolled my eyes, but today I felt something else, gratitude. Let her watch. Let her report. Let her unknowingly be my first line of defense. Inside the house, everything was exactly where I'd left it. But the atmosphere had changed. I could feel the tension hanging like humidity. The couch, the kitchen counter, the framed photos on the wall, everything looked like props in a life that wasn't real anymore. Mark was in the kitchen when I walked in, pacing like a man trying to outrun his own heartbeat. His hair was messy, shirt untucked, unusual for him. He looked up the second he heard me. "Where were you?" he asked, voice too sharp. I dropped my keys on the table. Out. With who? Why do you care? His jaw tightened. Because you're acting strange. I laughed once, low, humorless. You think I'm acting strange? He blinked, thrown off by the coldness in my voice. What's going on? Did someone say something to you? Oh, I whispered, stepping closer, someone said a lot. He swallowed. Like what? I didn't answer. Instead, I walked past him, opened the fridge, and poured myself a cold glass of water. The act was intentional. Dominance disguised as mundanity. When I turned back to him, he was watching me with a confusion that bordered on fear. Good. Fear meant cracks. Cracks meant entry. I've been thinking, I said, sipping slowly. About us. About the things you've been telling me. About how busy you've been. How tired you've been. He stiffened. I told you, work has been. Work? I cut in smoothly. Or Dallas? His eyes widened in an instant, betrayal flickering in them, not betrayal because he was caught, but betrayal because I knew. How, he started. But I didn't let him finish. You really should have been more careful with your stories, Mark. They don't align. They never did. He steps forward, reaching for rationality like a drowning man reaching for air. Listen, I can explain. No, I said, calm as still water. You can't. There was a moment of silence between us, a sharp, shimmering tension like the final second before a glass shatters. He whispered, Are you leaving me? Leaving? A small smile curled on my lips. No. Not yet. His confusion deepened. Then what do you want? Everything, I said. He stared at me like he didn't understand the rules of the game anymore. Good. He wasn't supposed to. Not now. Not ever again. I walked past him toward the bedroom, knowing he would follow me, knowing he was desperate to control a narrative slipping through his fingers. When I reached the bed, I knelt, unzipped the hidden compartment he didn't think I knew existed, and pulled out the velvet pouch. His face drained. Where did you? You hid this under our bed, I said quietly. In our house. In the home I built with you. And you thought I wouldn't find it? It's not what you think, he stammered. I held up the necklace. The gold charm glittered under the bedroom lights, mocking, intimate, undeniable. No? I tilted my head. Tell me, Mark. What exactly am I thinking? He looked sick. I was going to explain. I needed time. You had time. My voice sharpened. You had months. You had chances. And what did you do with them? You lied. Again, and again, and again. He dragged his hand across his mouth. I didn't want to lose you. My laugh was sharp. Mark, you didn't want to lose your reputation. There's a difference. He opened his mouth, but no justification came out. None existed. I placed the necklace back on the bed but left the pregnancy test in my hand, holding it between us like the indictment it was. She told me what happened, I said. His eyebrows twitched. His hands curled slightly. She told you? Yes. And you believe her? I stepped closer, close enough that he could feel the coldness in my voice. I believe evidence. I believe timelines. I believe things that aren't hidden under mattresses like contraband. He blinked hard, panic creeping into the edges of his composure. She's unstable, he said quickly. She's not telling you the truth. Funny, I replied. That's what she said about you. His mouth snapped shut. I didn't let the silence settle. She miscarried. His eyes flickered, shock, guilt, fear, something else I couldn't name. And you didn't care, I added. Not even a little. That's not true, he whispered. I was just overwhelmed. No, I said. You were relieved. He flinched like I'd struck him physically. You used her, I continued, voice cold and steady. You led her on. You told her I was abusive. You told her you were trapped in this marriage. You told her you loved her. And when the pregnancy became inconvenient, you dropped her like she was disposable. That's not. Don't. I stepped closer, lowering my voice to a whisper. Don't make the mistake of lying to me again. His shoulders shook with something like rage or humiliation or both. I didn't care. Every reaction he had was part of the unraveling I needed to happen. She said someone else was involved, I continued. Someone you lied to. Someone who warned me. His eyes flashed with recognition, too fast. You know who it is, I said. I don't. Liar. His jaw tightened again. You didn't just cheat, I said. You didn't just break vows. You built an entire alternate universe made of lies, and you forced two women into it. And now that everything is collapsing, you're scrambling. I'm not scrambling, he muttered. Oh? I whispered. Then why are you shaking? He looked at his hands. They were trembling. He hadn't noticed until I pointed it out. I stepped back, letting the tension coil tighter. This is the point where men like you panic. But me? I said softly. I calculate. What does that mean? He whispered. It means, I said, walking toward the door, that the next move isn't yours. His voice cracked. Then whose? I turned, met his eyes, and answered with the truth that made him stumble. Mine. And for the first time since this nightmare started. I saw it. The smallest flicker of fear. In the eyes of a man who never expected. The woman he betrayed. To be the one. Holding the match. For the rest of the day, the house felt like a pressure cooker. Every wall seemed to vibrate with the weight of the truth I now held tightly in my hands. Mark hovered around me like a ghost stuck between dimensions, wanting to talk yet too terrified to initiate. Watching me as if I held the detonator to his life. And he was right. I did. I spent the afternoon in my office, not working, but thinking. Connecting dots. Replaying Elena's broken voice. Rereading every anonymous message. Sorting through every lie Mark ever told me, now with fresh, unforgiving clarity. He thought he'd built a maze so complicated that neither of us could escape it without bleeding. But he forgot something crucial. I wasn't the one trapped in it. He was. By the time my daughter was asleep and the house dipped into nighttime silence, I was ready. Ready to confront him not as a betrayed wife, but as a strategist executing the final phase of a plan she didn't start but would absolutely finish. I stepped into the living room, where Mark sat hunched on the couch, elbows on his knees, head in his hands. The image almost looked like remorse, almost, but I knew him too well. It wasn't guilt consuming him. It was fear of what losing everything would look like. Get up, I said calmly. He did, instantly, like a trained reflex. Please, he whispered. Just, tell me what you want from me. I watched him for a moment. Really watched. The man who once walked with arrogance, now standing like he might crumble from a single gust of wind. What do I want? I repeated slowly. I want truth. I want accountability. And I want you to understand the magnitude of what you did. He swallowed hard. I know. I made mistakes. Call them what they are, I said. Not mistakes. Choices. You made choices that tore two lives apart. 3, if you count the child you pretended you wanted. His lips parted. I didn't pretend. Mark, I cut him off sharply, liars don't get to correct the vocabulary of the people they hurt. The silence that followed wasn't empty. It was suffocating. He stood completely still, shoulders trembling, breath uneven. I want to fix this, he whispered. I want to repair what I broke. You can't repair what you haven't even admitted to, I said. So let's start there. He nodded weakly. Say it, I ordered. Say what you did to her. His jaw clenched. I lied to her, he said quietly. Again, I demanded. Clearer. His voice cracked. I lied to her. I told her I loved her when I didn't. I told her I was leaving you. I told her we were building a future. I told her the pregnancy changed everything. I stepped closer. And when she miscarried? His face twisted with shame. I didn't. I didn't support her. You abandoned her, I corrected. Because she no longer served your narrative. He dropped his gaze. Yes. And what did you tell her about me? He hesitated, then exhaled shakily. That you were controlling. Cold. Cruel. And? I pushed. That you hit me. My stomach tightened. Not with pain, but with the pure, electric surge of vindication. And that, I said quietly, was the lie that made everything else possible. You made yourself the victim. And you made me the villain. Tears spilled down his cheeks. I'm so sorry. I'm not done, I said. He froze. What did you tell people about yourself? That I was stuck, he whispered. That you didn't appreciate me. That I was unloved. Unsupported. That I deserved more. And did you? No, he said. I didn't. I was wrong. For the first time since everything detonated, I felt a shift. A crack in the armor he had worn for so long. But remorse wasn't enough. A few tears don't balance the scale. Now, I said, say what you did to me. He looked up, eyes red. I betrayed you. Again, I said, more firmly. I betrayed you, he repeated louder. I lied to you. I gaslit you. I disrespected our marriage. I disrespected our home. I tore apart the life we built together. And I am the reason everything is falling apart. That was the first honest sentence he had spoken in months. I inhaled deeply. Good. Now we can move forward. He blinked, hope flickering in his eyes. So, you're staying? I said forward, I clarified. Not backward. His face fell. Panic rose. Are you leaving? Eventually, I said. But not today. Not until I decide the terms. Not until I have everything I need. Not until our daughter is protected. And not until you understand that I'm not leaving because you broke me. I stepped closer, my voice lowering to a cold whisper. I'm leaving because you're beneath me. He closed his eyes, pain slicing through him. Good. Let it cut. You're going to therapy, I continued. Starting this week. You're going to confess every lie you've ever told. You're going to rebuild from the ground up, not for me, but because you need to face the man you've become. He nodded, tears still streaming. You're also writing a full confession, I said. Everything you did. Everything you hid. Everything you told her. His eyes widened. Why? Insurance, I said. Protection. Truth. Call it whatever you want. He swallowed. Okay. And until I say otherwise, you're sleeping in the guest room. He nodded again, shoulders shaking. But the most important condition, I said slowly, is this. He looked up, frightened. You don't get to break down. Not now. You don't get to collapse. You don't get to grieve. You don't get to make this about your suffering. This phase, I stepped back, letting him see the full weight of my dominance, is not about you. It's about me reclaiming everything you tried to steal. He nodded as if his neck might snap. And you will cooperate, I said. Fully. Completely. Without question. I will, he whispered. And when I walk away, I added, I will not look back. He inhaled sharply, as if the finality of the words pierced straight through him. But before I leave, I said, you will understand something. He waited. I never lost you, I said softly. You lost me. And that loss will follow you for the rest of your life. He broke down. Shoulders shaking, face collapsing into himself, the sound of a man realizing too late that the woman he betrayed is the same woman who will rise beyond him. I watched him without flinching. Then I turned, walked toward the bedroom, and closed the door behind me with calm certainty. Not as a wife fleeing heartbreak. Not as a victim licking wounds. But as a woman who survived the fire. And walked out carrying the ashes as proof that she wins. Always.